Hey, welcome back to Right on the Money. Thank you so much for joining us today and taking time out of your schedule to have a conversation with myself and Steve Henson. Steve, of course, if you're just joining us, is a financial planner. He is the owner and operator of Prairieland Insurance Group out of beautiful Champaign, Illinois. And we have moved on to, from our first segment, we are now talking about taxation. And there are a lot of things going on, and we're not going to go political, so no one has to worry about that. But we do know this, right, Steve, that with the pandemic and stimulus money, different things that are out there, there's going to have to be some changes to taxation. Do you think?
Well, no question. And that goes back to our whole uncertainty. The thing certain about taxes and taxation is they are going to change. They're going to go up, they're going to go down, they're constantly in flux. If you look at where we're kind of sitting at today, tax rates were at kind of an all-time high a little bit before Reagan went into office. And since Reagan's been in office, we've been really in a declining tax environment for, the last 30 years or so. And currently right now we're at historically low tax rates. Now we have COVID, we have these stimuluses going on. We've already had one multi-trillion-dollar stimulus. There's another one on the table. All this money's being spent. These checks are being written. We're using our credit card. The taxes we're at historically low rates. This bill's eventually going to have to get paid. So back to our uncertainty, we want to start planning that taxes are going to be rising in the future.
There was a U.S. Appeals Court justice that had a quote on taxation, and I've always loved this one. And I'm going to read it so I get it right. There are two systems of taxation in our country, one for the informed and one for the uninformed. So Steve, talk a little bit about the role that you play in working with, because I know you're not a CPA and I know you're not an attorney, but as a financial planner, where do you sit in the planning process? How does this all come together?
You're absolutely right. Although we're not legally able to give tax advice or prepare your taxes, we certainly do planning with taxation in mind. So we like to work with our other clients, tax professionals, their attorneys, their CPAs, and we kind of act as a quarterback to kind of head up that team and let each specialized professional do what they do, and we kind of coordinate it all together.
Now, Steve, one thing we have talked about is, of course, that there's a lot of uncertainty when it comes to taxation for everybody coming forward. But my understanding is that for residents of the state of Illinois, there are a couple items on your ballot that could have some pretty big implications. What do you have going on up there?
Yeah, absolutely. So currently the state of Illinois is set up under a flat income tax rate, meaning whether you make $10,000 of income or $2 billion of income, you pay the same flat income tax rate on the state level of 4.95%. Now that happens to be constitutionally protected in the state of Illinois. So on the ballot here coming up in a few weeks, the legislators are proposing to change the Constitution. So you have to vote yes or no to amend the Constitution that will change Illinois from a flat tax of 4.95% to a progressive income tax, much like the federal system is, meaning the more income that you make, the higher tax that you're going to end up paying on this. So once again, going back to that uncertainty, it's probably likely that Illinois taxes are going to increase. Also, because of that federal or that constitutional protection that we have under the tax code, legislators can't just go in and easily make changes. So a lot of opponents to this bill are saying that if this is going to pass, it could lead to further taxation in the future. For example, currently, if you're a retiree in the state of Illinois, you do not have to pay state income tax on your pensions, on your retirement plan or IRA distributions. You pay no tax on that. A lot of people are saying if this progressive tax gets approved and they take it off the Constitution, that the next step will be the legislators to start taxing pensions and retirement income. So if you're a retiree currently in the state of Illinois, you could be looking at a 5 to 10% pay cut. So with that in mind, that goes back to our uncertainty planning. We don't really care if that bill passes or not. Well, we do care, but we don't care from a planning standpoint. We want to plan assuming that it does pass. And then if it doesn't, you're just going to be that much better off.
With election cycles, I imagine that if it passes or doesn't pass, there'll be something coming around the corner again, because like they say, the tax code is written in pencil. It's always changing.
Well, no question. And Illinois is not that unlike the federal government or the rest of the United States. Is we have some budget crisis in Illinois. We've got underfunded pension plans. We need infrastructure build up. And we've been, writing checks that haven't been paid. So eventually those bills are going to have to be paid. So it's likely that in the future, taxes on a state level in the state of Illinois are also going to increase.
With all the changes that come around with taxation, it's a wonder we can even keep it straight.
It's difficult, that's for sure. So Colin Powell, who was the former Secretary of State, former Joint Chiefs of Staff of the United States military, he made a statement one time that every time he submits his tax return to the IRS, he writes them a letter and he tells them that he has no idea if these taxes are correct or incorrect. He said, "This is my best guess estimate." And he's just kind of making a statement on how complex our tax code is in the United States. So with it being so complex, we know it's always going to be in a state of flux.
And that is why clients and people you haven't met yet need to be giving you a call. Here's what we're going to do. So we're bumping up to the end of this segment. What we're going to do is we're going to take a break. We're going to come back, because there is some tax rules, some different things legislatively that changed here in the middle of 2020 that I think a lot of people have forgotten and need to be reminded about. So catch us on the other side of the break. We'll see you there.